reading in YouTube. Enter Pontip, Anti-Pontip, published for you. Did you see it? Your mom saw already. On merit it for sentient being, Dhammasarano. Yes, what you have done, very great thing. Especially paragraph are very beautiful. And Kun Picky published in the big letter that easy to read. So before reading today, we would like to hermit the Triple Gem as our refuge before working. Arahanta Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivate Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Bhagavato Sawata Sangho Sanghang Namami นมัสการครับพระอาจารย์ Good morning good monk Good morning good monk Good David good listener Can you say hi David
สวัสดีครับเดวิดปุญญกามโม
ปุญญกามโม The devoted Upasaka lay people and hi David hi Khuncho Khuncho coming right now you say hi to your mom
สวัสดีโยมแม่
ขอให้โยมแม่มีความสุขใหม่เรากำลังจะอ่านหนังสือโอเค we already read 30 chapters Dhammasarano had done reading very well. Now, those who pay interesting about the Buddha's way can read and listen from YouTube, at least from chapter 1 to chapter 10. It published already. Thank you very much for Kun David to translate the Buddha's way from Thai language. First of all, the style of English very beautiful and strong meaning, and the way of arrangement of paragraph is so beautiful. Then we appreciate and happy to work the great work to homage the Buddha and to praise the Buddha life and work, and would be good light for all being to have the light from the first chapter to the 30th. We talk about Buddha's life in early childhood, in teen age, when he renunciation the world, seeking the truth, enlightenment. Today, after what he enlightened, and he find out the listener who appropriate to listen the Dhamma, then we come to listen chapter 31st after he try to find out the listener, and after that he can decide, he can found 5 disciples were proper to listen the first sermon, and then let us follow from now. Phraengtham Dhammasarano will read slowly for all Thai people who can follow. Let us start now.
When the Buddha considered that there were still many people with sharp wisdom and pure hearts, not overly disturbed by defilements, capable of seeing the light of the Dhamma and freeing their minds completely, he thought of those who might be ready to hear his teachings. The first people he considered were the renowned meditation teachers
Kalama
and Uttaka
Ramaputta. You remember? They were his teacher of meditation. Yeah. Okay.
Who had once trained him when he first renounced the world and had quickly invited him to co-teach due to his meditative mastery. But he had left them to continue seeking true liberation. Now, having attained what he had been searching for, he recalled that both Alara and Uttaka were wise and pure-hearted, with little dust in their eyes, and likely to grasp the Dhamma swiftly. But he soon learned they had passed away just 7 days earlier. He then turned his thoughts to the
Panchavakkhiya. Panchavakkhiya. That means the 5. Pancha is 5. Vakka is 4. Panchavakkhiya 5 the 4 ascetics. That means they were 5 persons, or they were 5 disciples of the Buddha. The first 5 disciples called
5 ascetics who had practiced with him: Khongchinda,
Kondanya, Wappa, Patiya, Mahanama, and Atsachi. You read by yourself. Kondanya,
Wappa, Patiya, Mahanama, and Atsachi.
Great.
They had once deserted him, believing he had abandoned asceticism for indulgence when he had changed course from self-mortification. They had withdrawn to Deer Park at Isipatana, near Varanasi, to continue
Varanasi.
To continue their own efforts.
Okay. David, you have done very well about Romanize. Yeah, you done very well. But I just support a little bit. He very genius about Romanized, because he had so many times of chanting. It's no more correction, just a mini correction only. And then David, if some statement you think is very interesting, you can short note on the TikTok of Bishop family, okay? You can give the short note statement for those who are watching right now. It would be very contributive. And if you watch about the Facebook of Wat Buddhapanya channel, you can do as well. Okay, go on.
The Buddha recognized they were spiritually well prepared, even though they had not yet found someone they fully trusted to lead them to liberation. Though disappointed by his change in practice, the bond they had once shared remained. Determined to guide them first, the Buddha set off for Deer Park. On the way, he encountered an Ajivaka ascetic named Upaka.
Great. You read very correctly.
who was struck by the Buddha's radiant appearance and asked what teaching he followed and who his teacher was. The Buddha replied that he had discovered the Dhamma himself, was freed from craving and delusion, and was now going to proclaim the deathless Dhamma for the world. Doubted the Buddha's claims and departed, shaking his head. This encounter illustrated how difficult it can be to find a true listener. Even face to face with the Buddha, someone without mindfulness and wisdom might gain no benefit. Worse, they might feel irritated or dismissive. Such examples should comfort Dhamma teachers who face resistance or ridicule. Even the Buddha, with his supreme wisdom and compassion, cannot reach every heart. When people mock or reject the teachings, practitioners should understand this is part of the path. As long as we live, learning continues. And Dhamma learning is a return to nature, to be in harmony with it, to let it go, and to realize unity with it. The Buddha and his Arahant disciples no longer grasp at anything in the natural world. Free from the pool of defilements, they no longer live under the bondage of fear or anxiety. Whether alive or passed away, their state does not differ, for they are in complete unity with nature from the moment of liberation.
Okay, we are very happy to have David to sit and study with us, and he can write some appreciate statement or some interesting statement on the pitch of family, like the brief of the reading. And then David, you know, you have done very well about Pali language. The more I read, the more I feel delightful, and I get feeling of wholesome very much. It make me more inspired or aspiration to let you work again, to publish in America. I think I would like to let American people to read this book that very different from other books. Now let's come to 32, the Buddha's beginning to teach.
The Buddha left Uruvela slowly and calmly, traveling over several days and nights until he arrived at Deer Park at Isipatana near Varanasi, where the
Panchavakkhiya were staying.
Were staying. These 5 ascetics were the Buddha's target audience. Those he believed would understand the Dhamma he had realized. Seeing him approach, they confirmed among themselves, "Here comes the recluse Gautama who had abandoned effort and turned to ease. Let us not honor him, to set down a seat. If he wishes to sit, let him. There is no need to offer robes or alms." But as the Buddha drew near, their long-standing affection and respect overcame their resolve. They each rushed to receive his robe and bowl, preparing a seat even though still withholding open respect. With compassion, the Buddha addressed them, "I have attained the Dhamma that I had long sought. I have come to share this realization with you who have long awaited it." They responded skeptically, saying that even with the extreme austerity, he had not realized anything. How could he now, having relaxed his effort? Despite this resistance, the Buddha patiently reaffirmed his realization, asking, "Have I ever claimed before that I was awakened?" He repeated his assurance 3 times. Finally, the Panchavakkhiya softened and began to consider that his words might be true. They prepared themselves to listen.
Okay, let me tell Langtonate from Colombo that you ask what the Buddha teaching, and now please pay attention to listen what the Buddha going to teach right now. Dhammasarano Sutta. From now on, please listen carefully, attentively. Okay. Chapter 33, Dhammasarano Sutta, setting motion of the wheel of Dhamma.
When the 5 ascetics were settled in a calm state and ready to listen to the Dhamma, the Buddha began to deliver the Dhammasarano Sutta, which means that the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, bringing light to illuminate the path to fellow human beings. As the light of Dhamma shines brightly, defilements gradually fade away. Like the rising sun gradually drives away the darkness until only brightness remains. The essential meaning of Dr.Phramahachanya Sutta includes 1. The two extremes. Sensual indulgence is the infatuation and obsession with sense pleasures such as sight, sound, smell, taste, physical sensations, and desirable mental objects. These cloud the mind and obscure its radiance. They are not truly beneficial, not genuine happiness. Self-mortification is tormenting oneself to the point of hardship. It causes restlessness and distress, both physically and mentally. It cloaks the heart and obscures its purity and radiance. It is not far from defilements, not beneficial, and also leads to suffering. The two extremes from the basis of the human belief of fulfilling every desire, want, and craving leads to happiness. Those who believe this dedicate body, mind, wealth, or even their lives in pursuit of gain, honor, praise, and pleasure to possess and enjoy as much as they wish. On the other hand, some believe the body must be tormented, made thin, and painful to reduce or eliminate desire. When desire decreases or ends, suffering too will cease. Therefore, people engage in extreme self-mortification, offering everything including their lives to achieve their goal of ending suffering. 2. The ultimate truth. The Buddha taught that the ultimate truth in the form of the Noble Truths, which describe suffering and the cessation of suffering, problems common to all humanity. But the cause of suffering and the path to cessation discovered by the Buddha differed from the traditional beliefs of both extremes. He realized that craving is the cause of suffering. Craving includes the desire to get, to have, to become, and dissatisfaction with what one has or is. Love and attachment are attempts to make desirable remain forever. These are sensual cravings and cravings for existence. Hatred, anger, envy, resentment, and vengeance are cravings for non-existence. Sensual craving and craving for existence are cravings on the side of liking. Craving for non-existence is craving on the side of disliking. The Buddha taught that craving is the cause of suffering. When craving arises, suffering immediately follows. Suffering is a burning feeling, discomfort, irritation, anxiety, longing, attachment, stress, confusion. Each arising of craving disturbs the mind and causes suffering. Repeated craving leads to repeated disturbance and suffering. The Buddha rejected both indulging craving and resisting it through self-mortification. He offered the middle way, which avoids both extremes. It does not satisfy craving nor attempt to destroy it. It involved correct practice through body, speech, and mind in a system called the Holy Life. Right practice is guided by Dhamma, not craving. The principal Dhamma are wisdom, morality, and concentration, presented in that order. Wisdom, morality, and concentration are listed for clarity and teaching. Practice.
Yeah, practice, however.
In practice, however, they must be developed together, interwoven, and mutually supportive. Only then can they be an effective process for ending suffering. Practicing them in a disjointed way lacks power. In practicing to uproot craving using wisdom, morality, and concentration or the Noble Eightfold Path, one must begin with wisdom that understands what suffering is, its cause, whether it can be ended, and how to end it. When wisdom clearly sees the truth at every step, correct morality and concentration will arise, grow, and become strong. These help intercept all forms of craving and defilements. Just like someone whose house is on fire fetches water to put it out, when wisdom realizes that every arising of craving brings suffering, practice can focus on uprooting craving so it will never arise again. Dhamma practice must be undertaken with intention, without relying on incentives or motivation, but because wisdom has seen for itself that the end of craving is true happiness. This marks the correct beginning of practice. Morality and concentration then serve as solid support to sharpen wisdom and give it strength to cut down through deep-rooted craving. 3. Right practice. This is the detailed and correct path that expands upon wisdom, morality, and concentration, called the Noble Eightfold Path, consisting of 1. Right view. Understanding that the primary cause of suffering is craving, which does not rise on its own, but through a process. Craving leads to clinging and the full process of suffering. When ignorance ends, wisdom takes its place. The process of suffering ends. When light comes, darkness vanishes. Right view is the key to eradicating suffering at its root. 2. Right intention. Correct thought led by wisdom prevents the process of craving from arising. The Buddha described it as thought free from sensuality, ill will, and cruelty. If sensual thoughts dominate, sensual and existential cravings arise. If these thoughts are not fulfilled, they turn into hatred and violence. which are forms of craving for non-existence. Right intention aligns with right view and prevents the cycle of suffering from beginning. Right speech. Correct, wholesome communication that avoids causing suffering. It means not speaking with a mind driven by craving, not speaking to feed craving, but speaking truthfully, avoiding lies, harsh words, divisive speech, and idle chatter. These types of speech come from a heart filled with communication is based on truth and appropriateness, and the listener receives it wisely, calmly, and beneficially. Right action. Correct physical behavior that does not serve ignorance, craving, or clinging. It sees work as part of Dhamma practice. Work becomes a means of purifying defilements because it is done with mindfulness, wisdom, concentration, and morality. It unifies the spiritual path with daily life. As one works with Dhamma, guided by mindfulness and wisdom, right livelihood. Earning a living correctly, including choosing a profession and spending income appropriately. Livelihood that supports the end of suffering is one that sustains both body and mind. The body becomes strong enough to resist illness, and the mind becomes strong enough to resist defilements. A healthy body is free from disease, and a healthy mind is free from mental afflictions. 6. Right effort. Correct exertion to remove defilements that have arisen or previously existed to prevent future defilements, and to strengthen wisdom, morality, and concentration. Even after skillful qualities are strong, one must not be complacent, but continue to cultivate them regularly. 7. Right mindfulness, clear and correct awareness that watches over the mind, guarding the heart from intruding guests. Mindfulness observes the body, its breath, its elemental nature, and like false sense of self that causes suffering. The belief in self is like a container storing all suffering. If the container is empty, there is no suffering. Mindfulness must prevent the identification of the body as self and preserve its natural purity. Mindfulness observes the feeling to see if craving has entered. If it has, the feeling loses purity, and the roots of craving grow. Feelings of liking or disliking arise, and craving follows. But if mindfulness is present, these feelings disappear, and the mind resumes its pure function. Mindfulness guards the mind from becoming inflated or deflated by worldly conditions, keeping it balanced. It also watches over the Dhamma's mental states to see if they are wholesome or unwholesome, beneficial or harmful, whether they protect or corrupt the purity of the mind. Mindfulness is the key of refining the mind's functioning in a balanced way. Right concentration. Correct mental stability that supports wisdom in swiftly and effectively removing craving. Right concentration protects the mind's purity, firmness, and flexibility, enabling it to experience things without being disturbed or stained. The highest form of right concentration is mental stillness, unwavering in the face of pleasure or displeasure. It functions with full mindfulness and clear comprehension, meeting all experiences without clinging, like a lotus leaf floating on water without absorbing it. One who sees the danger of craving and has found a way out through correct action, speech, and thought will no longer give rise to craving. Suffering cannot rise again. The Buddha called the Noble Eightfold Path the correct way out of suffering. When the cause of suffering is rightly understood, life is then adjusted accordingly, without following desire or torturing the body to destroy desire. But by cutting off its cause entirely, so craving no longer arises and the suffering ends. The Buddha's new path is one where craving is neither fed nor killed, but prevented from arising. Without craving, there is no need to kill it or to feed it. The path to which Buddha awakened is therefore a new, correct, and a safe path that leads directly to the end of craving and suffering, untangled in anything that might give rise to craving or suffering. The path is free from both positive and negative extremes, and is thus called the middle way. It is not attached to pleasure or displeasure, but transcends both, remaining in stable, normal state with firm power and no condition for craving to arise. The insight into Dhamma. 4. The insight into Dhamma. When the Buddha completed his first detailed and profound sermon, the elder Khongchinda, who was the oldest and had previous knowledge of the mind, though not correctly directed, heard the Buddha's explanation of the rising and cessation of suffering in clear reason and interconnected terms. It was as if the Dhamma radiated light and pierced his heart with clarity. Nothing was confused or dark at any point, because he had long been ready, like a gardener tending fruit that finally ripens perfectly. He was overwhelmed with joy in the Dhamma. At the end of the sermon, he explained with insight before the Buddha, saying, "Whatever arises from a cause is by nature to cease, due to that cause." Hearing this, the Buddha declared, "Khongchinda truly understands," and from that time forward, fellow disciples called him Anya Khongchinda, meaning Khongchinda who has understood.
Kondanya who understood. Anya mean understood. Kondanya the first name. The name Kondanya who understood the truth proclaimed by the Buddha or declared by the Buddha. Okay.
Kontanya's declaration summarized the entire Dhamma, the arising and cessation of suffering. The essential point was that both suffering and its absence have causes. They do not arise randomly or from fate or from past karma alone. They result from the interdependent chain of causes and conditions. When he realized this, how suffering arises at the Nibbana, he became one who had seen the Buddha's Dhamma, a noble disciple at the stage of stream enterer. Though not yet fully liberated, his view was correct and would never again become wrong. His understanding would only deepen like a growing light. It was as if on a 1,000-mile journey he had walked 250 miles in the right direction. He would not turn back, lose his way, or stray again. He asked to be ordained before the Buddha, becoming the first monk in the Buddha's dispensation, ordained by the Ehi Puki Piki.
Ehi Pikku. Ehi, that means come. Pikku, please come and be Pikku. Yeah.
Ehi Pikku method.
We call Ehi Pikku Upasampatha. It translates as the ordination by call to be a Pikku, by the Buddha saying Ehi Pikku. And the Buddha said that he becomes a Pikku. Very short, no more ritualism. This is the first method or the first disciple, Anya Kontanya. Okay.
We're ordained by the Ehi Bhikkhu method, where the Buddha directly declared, "Come, monk, well proclaimed is the Dhamma, live the holy life for the end of suffering."
Yes, that is the full word that the Buddha gave for Anya Kontanya, the first disciple who attained Sotapanna, who see arising and cessation of all things. Okay.
That day was Asala Puja, the day the triple gem of Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha was complete.
We will have Asala Puja on 29, July 29. In Asala Puja, we would have the ceremony to remember the first sermon, to remember the complete of triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Before that, we have just what you call twin gem, right? Twin gem, Buddha and Dhamma. And now, after Kondanya gained ordination, the Sangha was complete. So the Asa Bhuja homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha would be done on the full moon day of 8. Asalaha, that means 8. We make homage for the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha at the month of 8. According to lunar calendar. Okay, Anya Kondanya declaration. Okay.
Anya Kondanya's declaration confirmed that there truly are those of little dust in their eyes who, upon hearing the Dhamma, realized it and attained it. With the Buddha's boundless compassion, the Dhamma would continue to be taught, and more would come to understand and realize it. The Dhamma proclaimed for the benefit and happiness of the many would spread vast and limitless.
Okay, this is the day that the Buddha delivered already the first sermon. His name is Dhammasarano Sutta. It's very long, but we can cut the piece of word. Dhamma is Dhamma or righteousness. Dhamma. Chakra, that means the wheel. The wheel. Like the wind in front of temple. Chakra. Pavatana, that means carry on. Pavatana, carry on. Sutta, the story telling about the carry on of the righteousness. So we call the Noble Eightfold Path at the eightfold of righteousness. Right view, right aspiration, right speech, right effort, right livelihood, right mindfulness, and right contemplation, right view, right aspiration, right speed, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness, right concentration. So we call the will of righteousness because of the Noble Eightfold Path, that it's very important to lead the people or the lead those who understand to end of suffering. Okay, the first Arahanta, first group of Arahanta.
After the Buddha delivered the Dhamma to the 5 ascetics, Venerable Anya Khongchinda attained the eye of the Dhamma. The remaining 4 did not yet attain realization. The Buddha gave them special instruction in the Dhamma until they too attained the eye of the Dhamma. The remaining 4 ascetics requested ordination directly in the presence of the Blessed One. Their attainment of the Dhamma eye and the subsequent ordination through the Kampiku Ehipiku Upa Sampata formula marked the preparation of their minds to be fully receptive to the higher teachings that would completely purify their hearts. It was a skillful preparation by the Supreme Teacher to enable the disciples to benefit the fullest to the point of transforming their way of life and thinking, lifting them beyond suffering to get all together. The elevation of the disciples' minds to the higher Dhamma and noble attainments was a process of mental evolution that had been cultivated gradually and is called mature insight. This means having a comprehensive understanding of the cessation of suffering, detailed and profound, is like a root fully ripened, awaiting only a short time before it sweetens. Many Buddhists have wondered why disciples in the Buddha's time attained realization so easily. On closer inspection, it was not truly easy. Rather, it appeared easy because those individuals had strong foundations, especially in their minds, having undergone extensive cultivation and simply awaiting correct and luminous guidance. Much like a car with engine and fuel ready, only waiting for a skilled driver to take it to its destination. Once the Buddha brought the minds of the 5 ascetics to readiness for full release from suffering, he gathered them and taught the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, declaring them all to not be self. This was the core of the Dhamma's discourse. He began by presenting the 5 aggregates are non-self. He brought up each aggregate slowly and deliberately to show clearly that they are not self. In showing that each aggregate had made it crystal clear, if form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness were self, then they should be controllable. One could command them not to age, fall ill, or die, but because they are not self, they are not subject, and cannot be commanded to be this or not that. He then demonstrated between not self, impermanence, suffering, and suffering through a question and answer method, slowly bringing up the aggregate to be examined as follows. Are the 5 aggregates permanent or impermanent? The 5 ascetics answered impermanent, Blessed One. Then the Buddha asked, is that which is impermanent pleasant or suffering? They answered, it is suffering, Blessed One. Then he asked, is it appropriate to regard that which is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change as, this is mine, this is me, this is myself? The 5 ascetics replied, it is not appropriate to regard the aggregates in that way. Saying that the 5 aggregates perceive the truth of the aggregates through the lens of 3 characteristics, the Buddha elaborated further to help them uproot attachment, saying, Bhikkhus, therefore the 5 aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, near or far, are simply to be seen as what they are truly are with correct wisdom. This is not mine, this is not me, this is not myself. He continued by stating that when a noble disciple endowed with concentration and wisdom seize this truth, they become disenchanted, free from delight and attachment, no longer clinging to the five aggregates. The mind is liberated. Once liberated, it knows it is liberated. It knows the cycle of clinging has ended. Holy life has been fulfilled. The task of transcending attachment to five aggregates have been accomplished. There is no further task to bring about the cessation of suffering, because the cessation had already been reached. The five ascetics listen attentively and continuously to the Dhamma. Their minds gradually loosened from attachment until all clinging had been abandoned. No defilements, gross or subtle, remained in their hearts. When their minds were pure, radiant, clean, bright, and calm in full measure, they had attained arahantship, permanent freedom from defilements, because their hearts were full of mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, and sources of all Dhamma. The minds, once purified by defilements, had become free zones. Permanently purified, no defilements could dwell there any longer. Everything was now Dhamma. Thus the first Arahants appeared in the world through hearing the discourse known as the Anta Lakana Sutta.
Anatta, that means non-self. Anatta, Lakkhana, that means non-self. Characteristic of non-self. Lakkhana is characteristic of figure. Anatta means non-self. Yes. Okay.
Which the Buddha delivered in a structured and progressive manner to reserve the old understanding of things from selfhood to non-self, whether in terms of personal views or views of the world. This marked the beginning of spreading truth, driven by the Buddhist compassion of the world still caught in the flames of suffering and defilement, to help them escape its fires. The five Arahants were living proof that the Dhamma the Buddha realized was indeed the nectar of immortality, capable of extinguishing the fires of defilement that burn the hearts of beings and trap them in endless cycles of suffering. The Buddhist Dhamma is a light that dispels ignorance, the starting point of the long cycle of suffering. Ignorance is truly extinguished by the light of the Dhamma, just like the rising sun drives away the darkness until only brightness remains. The hypothesis made by the Buddha during his journey in the park, that where there is darkness there must be light to counter it, and where there is suffering there must be a way out, was now fully proven true. The Buddha found the Dhamma, brought forth the light, and dispelled his own ignorance, and then, out of great compassion, shared that light with others. Those he shared it with received it completely and used it effectively to dispel their own darkness. The Buddha's work was thus complete in every step and stage.
Okay, Tamoylas, peace.
While the Buddha was residing at the deer park in Isipatana near Varanasi, there was a merchant's son named Yasa, who lived amidst great wealth and luxury. Just like other prosperous heirs, he had 3 palaces, each beautifully designed and suited to one of the 3 seasons, allowing him to rotate between them for comfort and variety, never experiencing monotony in his surroundings. Women sang, danced, played music, and offered every kind of sensual pleasure a wealthy young man could desire. He was raised amidst overflowing sensual delight. After indulging in pleasures to excess, he grew bored. When he desired other kinds of pleasure, he would alternate between them without knowing when or where this pursuit of happiness would ever end. One evening, after his meal at twilight, the usual entertainment of even after Yasa had gone to bed, the musicians continued playing him to lull him to sleep with their melodies. But these entertainers, who had been performing continuously since dusk, grew exhausted as the night wore on. They stopped playing, stopped singing, stopped dancing, and collapsed in disarray on the floor outside Yasa's chamber. Each one was sound asleep, as though they had discarded their bodies without care. Snoring echoed loudly, but no one was disturbed, for all was equally fatigued. Some muttered in their sleep, others slept completely unaware. Their scant performance costumes easily slipped from their bodies. Some lay completely unclothed without intention or modesty. Others had saliva dripping from their cheeks on the floor, indifferent and underwear. Near dawn, Yasa awoke and walked out to these performers, and musicians sprawled out, entwined and disheveled before him. The sight resembled a heap of corpses piled together in a haunted graveyard. A feeling of deep disillusionment arose at once, and he uttered aloud in despair, "This is turmoil, this is entanglement." He left the room and wandered through other parts of the house, descending the stairs to find fresh air. But the haunting image lingered vividly in his mind. He kept walking, and eventually exiting the mansion through the side that led him toward the deer park of Isipatana, all the while murmuring to himself to express his distress. This is turmoil, this is entanglement. At that moment, the Buddha had already risen from his rest and was walking in meditation. Hearing the murmuring of the merchant's son as he passed by, the Buddha spoke, "This is not turmoil, this is not entanglement." When Yasa heard someone respond to his lament, he was gladdened. He thought he had found a companion who understood his heart, someone to talk to who could ease his discontent. The thoughts fixated on this disheartening scenes began to fade, replaced by a new focus on the voice that had said, "This is not turmoil, this is not entanglement." As Yasa drew near the Buddha, he saw a face radiant with joy, peace, reflecting a pure heart. He saw happiness, a warmth, and a deep fulfillment beyond words. He sat down and bowed in reverence. The Buddha greeted him with great compassion and began teaching him what is called a gradual instruction, presenting familiar topics in progressive order from coarse to increasingly refined dimensions. He began with giving to dispel stinginess and to cultivate a generous heart towards suffering and needy. Each act of giving is a step in accumulating kindness and eliminating greed. When the mind becomes expansive and no longer obscured by the dark veil of miserliness, the light of the Dhamma naturally appeared. Wherever the light of the Dhamma shines brightly,
clearly,
shines brightness, clarity, joy, and happiness follow. Next, he spoke of virtue. Virtue is the intention to abstain from selfish conduct that would harm others. The heart of virtue lies in the intention to avoid causing harm to others or oneself. Such intention protects the mind from becoming defiled. When one sees a danger in mental defilements and the benefits of purity, one naturally refrains from actions born of defilement. Virtue then becomes pure. When virtue is pure, joy and delight follow as natural consequence of this purity. The purity is what is called heaven, the peak of happiness that arises from doing good. When generosity and virtue are properly practiced, they produce a sense of bliss and radiance, uplifting the mind with a happiness referred to as heaven. The Buddha pointed out that although such goodness can lead immediately to heavenly rewards, both now and in the future, one must be mindful of the subtle danger called sensuality, which remain hidden in satisfaction. To help the mind journey to its highest destination, he explained the dangers of sensual pleasures, attachment to forms, sounds, smell, taste, touches, and mental impressions. Such pleasures abound in heaven. In fact, heaven is just a name for a state full of alluring sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and mental objects. The danger of heaven or sensuality is that they become the source of delight, frustration, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, joy, sorrow, fulfillment, disappointment, and many other disturbances. The mind swings about restlessly, agitated by craving and clinging, unable to remain calm. The Buddha then spoke of renunciation, the withdrawal of the mind from sensuality. To rise above pleasure and displeasure, wisdom must guide the mind out of infatuation and intoxication. Whenever the eye see form, ear hear sounds, and the nose smell scents, the tongue tastes flavor, the body feels contact, and the mind receives mental objects, one allows the sense faculties to function purely and naturally. The law preserves the mind from agitation, for the mind now sees all things are in constant motion. As much as it arises, that much passes away. Wherever something is born, it ceases there. When wisdom sees in this way, the mind becomes renunciant. It withdraws from clinging, obsession, and intoxication, both positive and negative. It dwells with mindfulness and wisdom, maintaining equanimity and awareness, stable and normal. When the Buddha saw that the merchant's son had a calm and gentle mind, free from the hindrance, radiant and clear, he taught the Four Noble Truths: suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path to the cessation of suffering. In many deep and varied ways, the merchant's son attained the eye of the Dhamma, realizing that whatever is by nature is to cease. The Buddha had found another wise one with little dust in his eyes, who could see his Dhamma. Meanwhile, Yasa's father, the wealthy merchant searching for his son, found his way to the Buddha. The Buddha gave him the same teaching he had just given Yasa. The father, too, attained the eye of the Dhamma, just as his son had. Joyfully, he praised the Buddha's teaching, saying, "Blessed Lord, your words are so clear, so beautiful. You declare the Dhamma from many angles. It's like turning upright what was overturned, uncovering what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or lighting a lamp in darkness, so that those with eyes may see." He then declared himself to be the first lay follower in the world to take refuge in the Triple Gem, saying, "I now go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha for life. May the Blessed One remember me as one who had given his body and life to the Triple Gem from this day forth." Yasa, who had attained the eye of the Dhamma, sat listening again to the gradual teaching and noble truths that the Buddha now presented to his father. Reflecting deeply at the Dhamma at each step, Vyasa's heart became radiant. Free from all defilement, he attained Arahanta then and there. Thus Vyasa, who had left his home in a state of turmoil, after hearing the Dhamma twice from the Buddha, had his confusion extinguished and his peace made permanent. It was craving that caused Vyasa's inner turmoil. It was the Dhamma that brought peace to his heart. Not only Vyasa, but his father too came to the Buddha, burdened by distress over his son's disappearance. But upon encountering the Dhamma together and his son together, his worry dissolved. This wealthy man became a living example of the saying, one who came in darkness and left in light, or came in turmoil and returned in peace. On learning that his son had attained liberation and was free from defilement, the father gave his blessing. The Buddha conferred ordination by the Come monk formula upon Vyasa, who had already become an Arahant. And the seventh Arahant had now arisen in the world. After Vyasa's ordination, his father invited the Buddha and the Arahants to his home for a meal. After the meal, Buddha taught Dhamma to Vyasa's former wife and his mother. They too attained the eye of the Dhamma, becoming noble disciples at the stage of stream entry, and declared themselves lay followers, taking refuge in the triple gem for life, as the merchant had done before them. These women were the first lay followers to openly declare their refuge in the triple gem, and may also be said they were the first women to testify that women too have the right to become noble disciples equal to men. This is the true principle of equality in Buddhist teachings, a form of equality that overcomes defilement and establishes deep peace equally in the heart.
Okay, I think enough for today. You know what the Buddha taught. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Dhammacakkappavattanussa can be say the heart of Buddhism. And then another satellite Dhamma to support about the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Now you hold the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta in your hand. You have like the core of Buddhism. And the second is you study is the Anattalakkana Sutta. That means the important figure of Buddhism, important identity of Buddhism that differentiate from all religion in the world. And then ethical value. According to ethical value, we can say politically on religion is the good thing. But in Buddhism, the differentiation thing is to teach non-self in order to non-attachment. That's beyond another religion. Thought about the whole or our life depends upon God. But in Buddhism, life depends upon how we practice. If we realize non-self and realize emptiness until we realize that nothing should be grasped as I and my, we attain enlightenment without attachment. That's it. Different situation. I think what I want to know is complete at the beginning, and you will have tomorrow. I will let you prepare yourself for lecture. We have no class at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
If you want to read, you can go on and read completely what you did not read. You prepare half a day and ready to give lecture tomorrow. And we would like to provide the ritualism according to Thai tradition. Like the first, we let all the people, including your parents, to offer food for you. And then another people would offer first and after you have a bunch of foods and sweet and something, I will let your parent at the last person, you come and offer food, and after they finish offering, then you keep something for them back. It as same as like you feed your parents. It is a symbol of that. And after you finish feeding your parent, and then you bring for me to feed พระอุปชฌาย์ and ศีลาจารย์อาจารย์นรินทร์ and the noble friend ท่านอาจารย์นรินทร์ and ท่านอาจารย์นรงค์ and อาจารย์วัชรินทร์ and that's it. And after that you give yatha varivaha and sappi and pavatu sap by yourself. This is the morning tradition that I would like you to do tomorrow. And then after that, what do you think about Noble Silence? 1, 2, 3, right?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
That means July 1, July 1st, July 2nd, and finish July 3rd.
Yeah.
Do you plan to do something when you are silent? Meditate or listening Dhamma?
I plan to finish reading Thich Nhat Hanh.
Okay, on
And
book, right?
I probably will reread this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
And do you want some drinking or one meal a day?
I'll take one meal.
One meal.
Just like
About what time we would prepare for you? You never come.
We can just do evening. We can just do evening.
Not evening.
No, evening. Just one time evening.
No, just morning, not evening.
Oh, just okay, morning.
No, don't allow evening.
Oh no, not meal.
Lunch.
I just want a smoothie. I just want a smoothie.
Or no meal.
No meal.
Oh,
That's what I meant by evening.
evening mean
No,
drinking.
No. Yeah, just drinking.
Drinking smoothie. Okay.
Yeah.
No meal.
No meal.
Breakfast, lunch.
No.
No breakfast, no lunch.
Just one smoothie evening.
Oh, very good. You have planned already.
Yeah.
We would like to provide for you. What about milkshake, strawberry, or something like that?
I like it.
Do you think? Okay.
Like it.
Let me know. And for the water you drink on the day.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for good, wholesome mind, good intention, wholesome intention to bring you happy. Okay, you can finish on this book by yourself.
I will be rereading it.
Okay.
Oh. Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Saṅghang Namāmi ขอบคุณครับพระอาจารย์
ขอบคุณครับ Rest well.
ขอบคุณ